If you set your alarm for 4 a.m. because some productivity guru told you to, you are literally destroying your brain's ability to retain information. Stop doing it. Wait, but what about the whole rise and grind mentality? We are constantly told that the most successful students are up before the sun, studying while everyone else is asleep. It is a complete trap. It is an illusion of productivity. You force yourself out of bed at 4 a.m. Your eyes are burning. You stare at a textbook, and by 9 a.m. you have absorbed absolutely nothing. You just feel superior for being awake. That is brutally honest. I remember back in college, standing outside a coffee shop in Seattle in the freezing rain at 5 a.m., thinking I was outworking everyone. In reality, I was just chronically sleep deprived. Exactly. You were confusing suffering with success. Students today are suffocating under this exact guilt. Every night they say, "Tomorrow I will finally fix my routine." The classic midnight lie. The midnight lie. They set 10 alarms. They imagine themselves waking up, working out, eating a healthy breakfast, and studying for 4 hours straight. But then 6 a.m. hits. They hit snooze. Grab their phone and start scrolling. And right there, that is the moment the day is lost. Not because they slept in, but because of what happens to their brain the second they open social media. Explain that. What actually happens? Because everyone does it. It feels harmless. Think of it this way. When you wake up, your brain is in a very delicate state. By immediately checking messages or news, you are effectively inviting 50 strangers into your bedroom to scream their demands, opinions, and perfect lives at you before you have even brushed your teeth. That is a terrifying image, but so accurate. You are instantly shifting your brain from rest into reactive mode. You are reacting to other people's emergencies instead of setting your own foundation. If you start with chaos, your entire day will feel chaotic. So, how do we fix it? What is the actual biological sweet spot for waking up if 4 a.m. is a scam? Anywhere between 5:30 and 7 a.m. That is when your body naturally begins releasing cortisol to wake you up. You do not need to fight your biology. But more importantly, it is what you do in those first 10 minutes. No phone. No phone. Open the window. Let natural sunlight hit your eyes. That light signals your suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock in your brain, that the day has officially started. Then, drink a massive glass of water. Water over coffee? Blasphemy. I know, but here is a counterintuitive fact. Dehydration mimics the exact symptoms of fatigue and laziness. You wake up feeling exhausted, and you think, "I'm just lazy today." No, your brain has literally been completely starved of hydration for 8 hours. That is wild. We mistake a biological need for a moral failure. We think we lack willpower, but really, we just need a glass of water and some light stretching. Exactly. Your body is the router. Your brain is the device. If the router is not turned on properly, the device cannot connect to the Wi-Fi. It is that simple. Okay, so the router is on. We are awake, hydrated, no phone. Now comes the hard part. Staring at the massive pile of textbooks. Where do we start? You start with the absolute hardest subject right away. The golden rule of cognitive science is that your brain is sharpest in the morning. Your willpower tank is full, but most students do the opposite. They check emails, organize their highlighters, clean their room. They do everything to avoid the hard math problem. It is called productive procrastination. You feel busy, but you're hiding. 1 hour of focused deep work on complex physics at 8 a.m. is worth 3 hours of struggling with it at 9 p.m. when your brain is fried. And what about breakfast? Because if we are doing deep work, does the brain need food? Absolutely. Your brain burns glucose for energy. If you skip breakfast, your brain is running on fumes. You will feel cranky, your attention will drift, and again, you will blame your lack of focus instead of your lack of oats. This completely reorients the morning. But let us talk about the afternoon, because that is the graveyard of productivity. The 2 p.m. crash. The 2 p.m. crash is entirely biological, usually worsened by what you ate for lunch. Most students eat a heavy lunch, pizza, burgers, heavy carbs, and their blood sugar spikes and then plummets. On the blood rushes to the stomach for digestion, right? Yes, your energy goes into digestion mode. Your brain slows down. And yet, what do students try to do at 2:30 p.m.? Read heavy theory. They sit in lectures, nod their heads, and absorb absolutely nothing. It is completely passive. Passive learning. Like throwing seeds on dry ground. Precisely. The afternoon should never be for heavy reading. You need to switch to active learning to keep the brain engaged. Solve practice problems. Write flashcards. Do past papers. Keep your hands and your mind actively moving. So you are aligning the type of task with your biological energy levels. Morning is for deep comprehension. Afternoon is for execution and repetition. Yes, and if you're still struggling, take a power nap, 15 minutes, or walk outside for 10 minutes. Reset the system. I feel like a lot of students feel guilty if they take a nap. They think, I'm wasting time. Someone else is out studying me. That guilt is toxic. It leads to the 18-hour study myth. People claiming they study 14 hours a day are usually lying, or they are just sitting at their desks scrolling with a textbook open. Consistency always beats intensity. Which brings us to the evening. After classes, after studying, you are exhausted. Do we just collapse on the couch? No, you move. 20 minutes of movement changes your entire neurochemistry. Play basketball, run, dance in your room. It flushes out the stress hormones built up from sitting all day. I always noticed my anxiety was highest when I stayed cooped up in the library until 10 p.m. I felt like a zombie because you were denying your body its basic biological needs. Movement, creativity, these are reset buttons. Paint, play guitar, cook. It prevents burnout. It makes you realize you are a human being, not just a grade producing machine. I love that. Not just a grade producing machine. But okay, eventually night comes. The pressure to cram before bed is huge. People think studying until the minute they fall asleep maximizes memory, and they are fundamentally wrong. Let me hit you with some neuroscience. Studying loads the data into your short-term memory. Sleep is the save button. When you sleep, your brain consolidates that information into long-term storage. Wait, so if I study for 8 hours but only sleep for 4 hours, you are literally throwing away half of your hard work. The brain does not have the time to process and save it. It is like typing a 20-page essay and then just slamming your laptop shut without hitting save. Poof. Gone. That is horrifying to think about. I've lost so many essays that way, my brain. We all have. And the worst part is the screen time right before bed. The digital sunset is mandatory. Blue light tricks your brain into thinking the sun is still up. Cortisol stays high, melatonin stays low. You lie there wondering why you cannot sleep, seeking a solution. So, 30 minutes before bed, no screens. What should a student do instead to deal with that pre-sleep anxiety? Write down tomorrow's plan. Your brain naturally fixates on unfinished tasks. It is called the Zeigarnik effect. When you lie down, your brain panics about tomorrow. Writing it down is like telling your brain, I have documented this. You can let it go now. That makes so much sense. It transfers the burden from your working memory onto a piece of paper. Exactly. Read a physical book. Listen to some music and go to sleep. A balanced routine is not a prison. It is an operating system. Once you install it correctly, your mind stops crashing. Discipline today becomes freedom tomorrow. Jordan, this completely dismantles the toxic hustle culture for students. It is about working with your biology, not against it.